The station hung suspended in the void like a lonely shard of glass, its corridors lit by a cold, sterile glow. Every surface gleamed with a metallic sheen, sterile and uninviting, designed more for function than comfort. Within this stark environment, Zyra, an alien woman of the Virellian species, moved quietly, her four-limbed frame casting long shadows along the corridor walls. Her skin, a pale lilac tone, shimmered faintly when exposed to light, though the shimmer had faded over the years, dulled by monotony and isolation. She had lived here for decades, not in luxury, nor in captivity exactly, but in servitude to those who valued her intelligence more than her freedom. She had been assigned to maintain the station's energy core, to optimize power flow, and to monitor incoming traffic. Day after day, she performed her tasks efficiently, yet without joy. Zyra had learned not to hope. Hope was dangerous. For the Virellians, gifts were not a concept. They were a superstition from primitive cultures. Zyra had been raised to give, to serve, to calculate what others needed before they did. She had never been offered anything for herself. Not a token of affection, not a small gesture, nothing. And she had learned to accept that this was the natural order. The first anomaly came on an ordinary cycle of station maintenance. Zyra noticed a ship docking at the outer bay that had no clearance codes. Humans, she realized quickly. Their presence was noticeable even in the sterile corridors. Loud, imperious, and curious. Another exploratory team, she muttered to herself, her voice barely audible over the hum of the energy core. She paused, observing the humans' movements from behind a service panel. Unlike the alien Zyra was accustomed to, humans seemed unpredictable. They hesitated, they laughed, they whispered. They noticed things, not only facts but feelings, subtle movements, and, even stranger, they sometimes acted on them. One human in particular caught her attention. Captain Rian Holt, a mid-ranking officer by appearance but commanding in presence, paused directly near her station. He tilted his head, scanning her with an intensity that made her instincts scream. Zyra stayed motionless. Humans were known to be curious, sometimes dangerously so. She had seen them operate in simulations and in broadcasts. Their empathy, their unpredictability, their capacity for both mercy and destruction. She did not move. "Hello," he said softly, almost gently. "Are you Zyra?" Her voice caught in her throat. She rarely spoke to strangers, especially humans. "I am. I've been assigned to observe the station," he said, removing a small device from his belt. "And to make things easier if possible." Zyra blinked. Humans rarely offered assistance. Usually they took what they needed. Over the next several cycles, Captain Holt visited Zyra's station repeatedly. At first, she ignored him, performing her tasks and hoping he would leave. But curiosity gnawed at her. He never demanded anything of her. He never mocked or scolded her. Instead, he asked questions. Questions she had never been asked before. "Do you like your work? Do you enjoy the station? What do you wish for?" Questions were dangerous. They implied expectation, a world where answers could matter. Zyra had never considered her own wishes. They had always been irrelevant. Then came the gift. It was small, almost insignificant in human terms. A smooth sphere of crystal, no larger than a fist, with a faint blue glow pulsing gently from within. Rian presented it with a careful bow of his head. His hand extended, palm open. "For you," he said simply. "Nothing else." Zyra froze. She had never received anything. Not a compliment. Not a token. Not even acknowledgement that she existed beyond the work she produced. The concept of a gift was foreign and dangerous. yet thrilling in a way she could not quantify. "What is it?" she whispered. "Just a gift," he replied, his tone steady. "For you. No strings, no duties. No calculations. No expectations." Zyra stared at it, then at him, then back at it. Her bioluminescent skin began to glow faintly, a subtle reaction that she could not fully control. She had never experienced this emotion before. Gratitude, awe, recognition, fear. All of it pressed at once, leaving her paralyzed. Over the next cycles, Zyra found herself thinking about the gift constantly. She examined it carefully, turning it in her hands during quiet moments, observing the glow, noticing patterns she could not predict. And she noticed the human, always nearby but never demanding, never intrusive, simply present. Slowly, she realized the gift was more than an object. It was a gesture, a proof that someone valued her for who she was, not for what she produced. The concept was alien, revolutionary. Zyra began to understand something fundamental about humans. They did not always act out of utility or necessity. They could act purely out of care. One cycle, when the station suffered a power surge, Zyra was at the control panel, panicked as alarms blared. Rian appeared instantly, placing his hands over hers as they worked together to stabilize the core. "You're not alone," he said quietly. "I'm here." Zyra's hands trembled, her glow intensifying. She realized she wanted to believe him. She wanted to accept that someone saw her, not as a tool, not as a laborer, but as her. Weeks passed. Zyra and Rian developed a quiet rhythm. He continued giving small gifts, books of alien cultures, a vial of bioluminescent liquid, a hand-carved model of the station she had never noticed before. Each one was simple, yet to Zyra revolutionary. Each one taught her that she was worthy of attention, of care, of thought. Then came the moment of realization. The station was under threat. A pirate fleet had traced the human detachment to this sector, and sudden alarms blared throughout the corridors. Zyra's first instinct was to retreat, to hide, to calculate her survival. But she looked at Rian, who calmly assessed the situation, then turned to her. "Stay close," he said. "We'll get through this." And they did. Together, navigating the chaos of energy blasts and collapsing corridors, Zyra found herself protecting him in return. A strange thrill ran through her. She had never felt this bond before. When the last threat was neutralized, Rian handed her another gift, a small metallic device. "For you," he said, smiling softly. "Because bravery deserves recognition." Zyra's bioluminescence flared, brighter than ever before. She realized something astounding. She wanted to give him something in return, though she had nothing material of value. So she touched his hand, her skin glowing, a Virellian gesture of respect and connection. Rian's eyes widened slightly, but he smiled. "I'll take it," he said. Months later, Zyra stood on the observation deck, holding the crystal gift, now warm from her touch. Humans and Virellians worked side by side on the station, repairing and rebuilding, creating an alliance that seemed impossible only cycles before. Zyra glanced at Rian. He approached quietly, carrying a simple cup of nutrient solution. "For you," he said, mirroring the gesture from months ago. She smiled, finally understanding. A gift was more than an object. It was recognition, trust, and affection, all condensed into a single tangible moment. And humans were remarkable in their simplicity and their depth. For the first time, Zyra realized she was not just a tool, not just a laborer, not just an observer. She was seen. She was valued. She was alive in a way she had never been before. And in that moment, she did the unthinkable. She gave a gift of her own, Not an object, but her trust, her acknowledgement, and the soft glow of her bioluminescence bathing Rian in light. He smiled, understanding immediately, and nodded. The alien woman had never received a gift before. Now she understood the power of giving and receiving. The universe, vast and uncaring, had suddenly become personal,